Hello, and thanks for joining me today for another project. So with Mother's Day right around the corner, I thought maybe we would create a cute little Mother's Day card and have some fun with that. So for today's supplies, it will be, because I am going to be making a card out of this, I have my pink background paper and then a little piece of watercolor paper, the greeting card that I'll be putting this on, my paints, and some clean water. I also have my micron marker. This is a 05 nib, and then my angler shader, and this is a #1 round brush. I also have a little tube of spray water just for my paints. I want to spray those before we get started. And then of course towards the end we will be using the Stickles glitter glue to, just put a few highlights in there. So to get started, let me just spray down my paints a little bit to get them activated. And we'll put that aside. So let me move this for just a minute, and I'm going to set that off to the side. So this is just a cute little card, and I did kind of cheat a little bit, and I drew this out very lightly before I got started, and now I'm just using my marker to go ahead and fill it in. And it's going to be a high-heeled shoe, a stiletto with some flowers coming out, and it says Happy Mother's Day. And as always, choose your own color palette, whatever colors you really like that work for you, and just have fun with it. And this basically gives you just a nice idea, of what can be accomplished. Okay, so I do have the shoe drawn in a little bit, just kind of adding a few highlights here and there. And then, as I mentioned, we want to have the shoe full of flowers. So I'm just going to kind of draw in a bunch of flowers, and, it's going to be just real loose, flowers and leaves and berries. If you have a specific flower that you like to draw, go ahead and use that. I do like my daisies. I put those into a lot of my greeting cards, and just different designs. And I'm just kind of going through right now and filling in some main flowers, and then we'll go back through and add some nice filler here and there. And then you'll see what I mean, as far as being loose, and it doesn't have to be very distinct with the different flowers that you are choosing to use. And then we can put in a couple little berries. And then a few more, just fun little flowers, because they are going to be kind of muted with the different colors that we'll be using. I'm going to put a little leaf up there. Whoop. I'll have a little leaf down here. So that's good to get started anyway. And then I'm going to go ahead and write in Happy Mother's Day along the side here. And you can choose whatever font you really like that works for you. I will say fonts are not my strong point, unfortunately. And it looks like my marker is failing me a bit. I feel like I replace these markers quite often. I use them a lot, and maybe that has something to do with it, I think, maybe. All right. And I'm just going over this to make it a little more defined. And then we'll be adding some fun stripes in a very light color, and you know, just adding a bunch of detail to it that will really make it pop. So now I am grabbing my 01 paintbrush, and then I do have a piece of paper towel here as well. And so, as I mentioned, I just want to go through and do a little bit of coloring in of these different flowers and such. And I want all of my colors to be very light. So in doing that, there's not much color on the brush, but there is a lot of water. And so, you know, we're just kind of doing a few highlights here and there. And let me grab some blues, make some fun blues, purples, you know, make the colors really bright and bold and fun for this. And very light. I probably could have grabbed a little bit larger of a brush to do this with, but use whatever you have, what you feel comfortable with. And I do like to add some yellow. I think yellows with flowers, you know, it's always such a bright pop of color and very important to add in. And you can see I'm going to kind of put some color in different areas where there's really no flowers or anything, and it will give the, you know, the illusion that there's a lot more going on than what there really is. When you keep it very loose like this, you can get pretty creative. So now I'm going to go through and just kind of fill in some greens. You know, kind of fill in the stems, just run down the stems, a little bit of a highlight. And then what I'm going to do real quick with my angular brush is I'm going to just have a very, very light amount of blue on the brush with an awful lot of water, so that it's very, very light. And I'm going to just kind of highlight a few areas of the shoe, like the heel and the back, and then down towards the bottom. And I might even dab in just a little bit towards the bottom side of the shoe. I don't want it to be very dark. I just want it to have a little bit of a highlight. Okay, so we've done that, and I do want to go back through with maybe just a little bolder of color and kind of pop it in here and there. And I think I'm going to just kind of dab in some little dots. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you know that I love all of my dots and stripes, and you know, I think that they add a lot of character to many of the designs that I do. And they're a great little filler. So I've added in some of the brighter red dots, and I'm going to grab some more green, just a little bit heavier on my brush, and in some of these areas kind of darken it up a little bit. I just want to get some different colors going on here to make it look bright and cheery for Mom. And you know, really for Mother's Day, I think moms appreciate when you take a few minutes and design something specifically for them. If you don't have the time to do this and have to go buy something, that's fine. But if you do have a few minutes to sit down and get creative, they treasure these little, you know, these little tokens of love quite a bit. Okay, so I have the flowers painted in, and so now what I want to do is take one of my reds or pinks, whatever you have, if you like yellow, and I'm going to, and you want to make sure that this is dry now, and I'm just going to very lightly start up at the top and draw in some very light stripes. And just the way that the paint is on the brush, you can see that on the left side where I start, it is heavier and it gets lighter as I go to the right side. And that is very intentional because we do want the different shades happening. This one I want just a little darker on that left-hand side. So, okay, so that's really all there is to this. And then I'm going to slide these to the side. And then coming down this side, in fact, I think I'll do it maybe like this. I want to do just a small heart on the bottom, in the middle, and at the top. And they don't have to be perfect. And then in between each of those, I draw just a line. So it's kind of like a frame on one side. And there you have it. So now with that, it's still a little bit damp. So I'm going to set that aside for just a moment and let it dry. It won't take that long to dry. So now this, and I forgot to mention this earlier, but I do have this, it's a double-sided foam tape. And the foam tape is going to add depth with each of the layers that we put this on. So this is going to be mounted onto the greeting card, and then this will be mounted on top of that. So what I will do is take just a couple little clips of the foam tape, and I put it on either side of the background paper. And then let's take a peek at this. I think this is pretty dry, so I'm going to flip this over and do the same with this one. Just a couple little squares. It doesn't have to be a lot. We just want enough on there to, you know, adhere the two layers together, and then, you know, create that depth. So then let me peel this off. Okay, and I will adhere this to the middle of the background paper. And then with the background paper, we're going to do the same thing, just remove the film on this tape. And then we'll bring this over and center this, and I just kind of eyeball it. I don't do any measuring. It's all very informal. So this is put together, and then for the finishing touch, which I always say that Stickle Sparkle Glue on any greeting cards, it adds so much and just makes it pop. And so I'm just going to go down through some of the flowers and dab different amounts of the glitter glue. And I think I'll kind of dab into the little hearts going down the side, and then along the frame or border that I had already put on the background paper, I do want to add some of my glitter glue to that as well, so that it, you know, kind of brings a little sparkle and makes it pop, right? Okay. All right, so that is pretty much complete. And so you can see just how quick and easy that fun little Mother's Day card is. And as I mentioned, you know, she would absolutely love to receive something like this that you hand painted or hand drew yourself. So I know I haven't mentioned it throughout the video, which I usually do, but if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, if you could go ahead and do that now, I would really appreciate it. It does help my channel grow. And if you've enjoyed this video, hit the like button. Also, hit the bell, and then that way when I have new videos coming out, you will be notified. And feel free to leave comments below. I do appreciate everyone's feedback. And if you have any questions or comments, leave those below. And so here's the Mother's Day card, your next project to work on. You do have a couple weeks to get this done. I think it's a great one. And until next time, ciao for now.